and has struggled to really find himself deeply caring about the game. And that's really one of the things that holds him back. But when he's dialed in and when he really wants to do it, he's there and he's one of the best of them. And I think on EUnited, with a person like Pain to Beyond, he's in that mindset.
Pain's really good at inspiring players to just make them play their best. I think that's his greatest attribute.
Yeah, and you know, it works well. That's just sort of the person Pain is. If you ever have the chance to come to LAN, come to Worlds, try to find him and shake his hand. He's just a very infectious player, very infectious person. And because of that, I think EUnited is a fantastic LAN team specifically. And, you know, even going back to when they were enemy, you look at how they perform online versus on LAN, there's something different there.
Not to mention that Benji knows he's got a target on his back from the entirety of the SoaR roster, and knowing the kind of character that Benji is, that excites him. He loves that kind of knowledge.
Oh,
Scotty, the first pick here for EUnited. And going off of what you said,
that is not a character I want to see Panda Cat on if I was SoaR.
He was playing Scotty before.
Scotty is a terrifying god, and then just Panda Cat being who he is, that is scary.
Yeah. You know, going back to Benji, one of my favorite NBA stats is that Kobe Bryant has a better shooting percentage in arenas that he's booed at. That's Benji. If there were fans here, they booed Benji, he would have a higher KDA in that situation. So this is kind of what he wants, is kind of what he plays into. He likes being that guy. SoaR, on the other hand, I wouldn't be surprised if SoaR grouped up as 5 and got him a first blood right at the beginning of the game. That's what we're looking for. This is one of the more exciting matchups. SoaR take Amaterasu away and also select Rom. Amaterasu is Benji's arguable best god. Taking that away is a very smart move.
Actually, I think the Rom pick's even smarter because Astro Arrows, when you activate his one, it actually hits the dog twice.
Yep.
So it's very efficient in killing it very fast.
Rom's certainly probably one of the best hunters that can buy the most time, if anything, for avoiding that immediate 1v1 boxing opportunity from Scotty that you can provide with the dog. I mean, having immunity for so long in your ultimate, it makes it difficult for any hunter to get in there. But when you can go up in the sky, nothing else really matters.
SoaR Gaming with their Amaterasu and Rom, as they said, taking the Amy, that's snatching it away from the solo lane player. But I don't necessarily think that means we're going to see Amaterasu in the solo lane for SoaR. Provided that there's going to be enough crowd control across the way, I think that means that we see Amaterasu in the support role. This is Jigs, one of Jigs' favorite characters, as long as there's crowd control elsewhere. We already mentioned it, talking about the weird picks. That right there, that's Chaos's Jean Queasy.
That's an early Jean Kui, I think. If I was SoaR, I would not even... Like, yeah, Chaos is known for it, but I would not ban that, I think.
So we already saw Jean Kui this tournament, and I think that Jean Kui is proven to be playable. And if he's playable, he's good.
But if you look at his stats right now, he's only 1 for 4. It's not like he has a high win rate.
He has only come away. He found his first victory yesterday, actually, and I think that was even an unexpected one because Jean Kui is he's just so difficult to make work in that mid lane, especially because when you pick him out in a top 3 phase of all things, you have to have the concern in the back of your mind of just how much focus an enemy roster can be put into you.
Zeus is selected for SoaR. Now, Zeus is a fantastic pick. Nobody's going to tell you it's bad. But Jean Kui excels at dealing with the sort of thing that Zeus gives out. He's going to be tanky. He's going to be able to deal with that. He's going to be able to heal up the little bit of poke that Zeus does dish out. I'm not questioning the Zeus pick. I just think it's very interesting that SoaR feel confident going into the Jean Kui. I like the Zeus pick, honestly. And as much you said little, I don't think that's a little poke. That's a lot. That's fair. We'll see how it works out. It's funny, you guys, we're looking at the players. I made a face when they selected Zeus. Skilda looked at me like I was crazy. Like, it's Zeus. There's no problem with it. We'll see how it works out in practice. He always does damage.
Well, the Khepri ban's probably the most important part here after that Zeus selection came through, because now that takes away a huge possibility of survivability for Chaos on this Jean Kui in the middle lane. And plus, we've seen Pain's Khepri multiple times already. He has an excellent Khepri, and it's even better in a LAN environment. So it's just especially safe for SoaR to just opt to take that away from them. I would like EUnited to actually ban Thor right here, just because against Homie, first of all, he's known for being a good Thor, and second of all,
You have Scotty, she can't get over the wall. You have Zhonghui. We've seen what Raffer did with Ymir walls. You can definitely do that with Thor.
So the Nemesis will be the ban. Nemesis is one of the true hard counters in the game versus Zhonghui. Bans are all said and done. Khepri, Osiris, Fafnir, Kabrakan banned out by SoaR. Nemesis, as I mentioned, Susano, Sylvanas, and Terra will be the bans coming out from EUnited. Odin will be the warrior of choice for SoaR Gaming. Very interesting. Still curious as to where those two are going to wind up.
Odin isn't necessarily the win-all factor for teams that don't have a skippability within the ring. We've seen it happen plenty of times where they're unable to secure the kills inside of the cage, but with the Zeus on your side, along with the Amaterasu, that is more than enough setup, and I think it's going to force EUnited to pick up a Phantom.
Zeus and Odin have been paired together since the game came out. I mean, this is one of the oldest combinations that SMITE has really in their arsenal, and so going back to the big old circle within a circle, certainly not a bad look. You've got Disruption on the side of EUnited, mainly. Hunbats and Zhonghui are just going to try and stop every single team fight that SoaR thinks about while Scotty cleans things up. What do you think 2 picks would complement this draft?
That's really hard. I really just something defensive, because if Scotty and Zhonghui both get caged, it's going to be a rough time for one of them. Geb could even work here. I know he's not had any showing, I believe, this week. But, I mean, if you keep one of them alive through Zeus Burst, what do they really do?
Bacchus is not who I expected. I thought we were going to see an Athena, in all honesty.
That would have been a good pick as well.
I thought the Athena ult on top of whoever gets locked in the cage would be important. Instead, we're going to go offensive with Bacchus. Why do you like the Bologna?
Let's say that both of them get caged and neither there's a Phantom. She ults in, she gets protections to everyone. You also have Shell then activated. You just have a really tanky team comp along with Zhonghui's protections. Bacchus is also actually a really good pick, because if he ever initiates and Odin does cage, the mitigation on his passive is at 1. It just, oh my.
And there he is.
The cruising bro. Here he is, the turtle god. We've got King Kuzenbo. SoaR Gaming pick Kuzenbo. I mean,
you thought Zhonghui was spicy.
Yeah.
That is not a pick I was expecting to show up.
Was not expecting that. Here, this is the harder game. I'm not going to ask you who wins. I'm going to ask you what positions everybody's playing on SoaR.
I want to say Kuzenbo. Wait. Okay, that's Odin jungle, Kuzenbo solo, Alma support, and Rom ADC Zeus mid.
We'll take a look if that's going to be the way. King of the Kappa, here he is. We've got Hindu and Aggro on the call.
We've had some interesting picks this weekend. It just gets better and better. Kuzenbo now into the fray as well. Just like Skirdan said, though, more than likely going to see Kuzenbo in the solo lane.
I'd imagine.
Can technically jungle, can technically support.
Sure.
But I think it's Amma support here.
Now, Jigs has been telling me all weekend that Kuzenbo is really, really good. And I'm like, I know, I agree with you. He's a really good solo laner. He's like, no, he's really, really good. And I'm, Jigs, yes, I understand and agree with you. So really, SoaR have been waiting on this pick, I think, ever since they knew their matchup was going to be up against EUnited. See if it works out.
Well, Kuzenbo as well will be in the solo lane for FineOK, who has had a fantastic split so far. Playing a lot of Hercules. You saw how dominant he was in that, but he's held this pick for right now. Benefits of Kuzenbo is that Spike Shell can be used through any form of CC. So if Pain Divion flops on him, he pops the Shell, and Chaos comes running in.
Exactly.
Chaos is going to have a bad time.
So the whole idea around playing around Kuzenbo is you don't hit him whenever he's got that Spike Shell and Thorns combination up, but Chaos doesn't really have a choice. If he's ulting in the middle of a team fight, he's going to be returning damage to himself, and a pretty high percentage of it at that. Really, really like this Kuzenbo pick, though I have to say, I was really surprised to not see SoaR lock in Nemesis in that 3rd slot before the bans.
Homie F8 on the Odin for this as well. Homie's in a bit of trouble in the mid lane after getting a bit of poke push up with the leap. He's going to get chipped down, but he should be able to resustain a little bit. And Insta and Homie F8 will have lane pressure, as you'd expect up against a Zhonghui and a Bacchus.
But Zhonghui does start to get his clear online a little bit earlier than he used to, thanks to the new Soulstone passive that can apply across multiple abilities. Whenever you've got 5 stacks, you use an ability, you get a little bit of mana back, and some extra power on that ability, and any abilities you use in the next 3 seconds afterwards.
Really funny, because when you actually look at these compositions, I could easily see EUnited drafting the exact same composition SoaR has here. EUnited of some of those sort of gods and those roles. That makes a lot of sense to me. But the only thing that gives away to that is that Zhonghui, this is always going to be chaos.
Every single time. I mean, I was talking to him about, what do you think about Zhonghui? And we were talking about the god, and he said, yeah, well, we'll see how well he does later on this week, because we did see some Zhonghui earlier on, not to the same success that I think Chaos is hoping for here.
Well, SoaR's going to invade on the left-hand side early on and be able to strip away the red buff, and now they're looking at the purple buff. Obviously, PandaCat was left 2v1 as Pain started in the mid lane, and at the same time as that, Virizial wanted to make sure the early game for Benji went swimmingly early on.
And Benji right now, just kind of hanging out over there on that right-hand side. He's going to have pressure up against FineOK on this Kuzenbo. Kuzenbo is kind of like Sobek in the sense that he's going to clear the wave pretty well as a Guardian, but still not to the same rate as your typical warrior.
But he keeps them pinned in lane a little bit more because of how the Nene Kappa works. It does draw aggro from the minions, which means your minions are not attacking the enemy ones. They're attacking that Nene Kappa instead. Bit of trouble for FineOK though, because he just dashed in with a sumo slam, and Virizial's come around the corner.
He's in a lot of trouble right now. Benji slowed him early on. Virizial's got that speed buff, needs one more auto attack to find it, and he will. Virizial picks up first blood.
Good dive in from EUnited there, realizing that they could go under that tier 1 tower just enough to take the kill.
This is FineOK's third or fourth game, and that's his first death so far. He didn't die in their earlier set. Yes.
Not one death?
Nope.
Well, he's
his
died
first
now.
death early on here.
Jigs on the left-hand side, though. Pressure in PandaCat. PandaCat's supposed to be. Meanwhile, mid lane, Homie facing trouble. Has to drop the ring. He's dead as well. PandaCat, though, manages to trade a 1-for-1 in the duo lane. Vetium's going to back straight away there, not hang around.
All action around the map, but the big one there is that PandaCat doesn't just fall down to that duo lane. He gets a kill of his own. Doesn't allow him to hit level 5 quite yet, and Vetium, he was level 5. That's why that ultimate did enough damage to finish him off. Either way, PandaCat gets at least a little bit of farm and the assist onto Jigs.
Well, EUnited going for a very similar comp to what we've seen before in the past. Nothing too unusual from this composition, whereas SoaR are at a bit of a deficit early on. Their composition is something that we're going to have to talk about as the game progresses, at what stage these gods come online and where their impact starts to falter.
Well, right now, homie FA on this Odin, he's going to be having a big impact right away. That Bird Bomb combination, one of the highest in terms of just outright base damage that it can do to his enemies. And I like this pickup of Blink, but it does mean he has to be very, very careful around Virizial. When you don't have purification beads, as someone who isn't building particularly tanky up against Hunbats, you're in for a really, really tough time if you don't wait for that ultimate to go on cooldown before engaging.
As a SoaR fan, however, you're not going to be too happy about the fact that all 3 members that are frontliners for SoaR Gaming here have all taken a tumble early. If that trend continues, there's not much of a frontline available.
But there's the cage onto Chaos, the lightning storm coming on top, and Chaos knows he's absolutely toast. Annenster gets number 2 for SoaR.
Good pickup for SoaR there. Obviously, the ring comes into play early on. No Phantoms available just yet. Sprint was picked up by Pain Divion at the start here to try and help with juking out some of these abilities and ring around the rosies to an extent, but it's still not enough.
I suppose Jigs here getting met by Virizial and Benji. He's in trouble. There's the Bird Bomb, and the Fear No Evil goes down onto Jigs, but not enough damage to pick him up.
The Bird Bomb didn't really do anything there, and Virizial will be able to leap away to safety. Anis is still under pressure, but the good jukes out from FineOK's ultimate will keep him alive. Anis is nearly dead. Monkey Toss will seal the deal, and now he's going to take on Homie FA.
But Virizial's in trouble right now. He is a level up. He got that speed buff as well. The Aegis saves his life from that bomb.
Go, Kappa, go. No, not going to happen this time round. He will get away back to safety. 4-2. Back to all action, just like EU was.
Benji has been all over the place already on this Bellona, and you know SoaR wants to really put Benji down after the way that he really hurt them in the middle of that split, being on the team early on, leaving very suddenly, forcing SoaR basically into a surrender up against EUnited. This team, we never got a chance to see them in that early in the early spring split.
Well, even though Anis did manage to get a kill in that little skirmish on the right-hand side, FineOK fell further behind by losing minions in that wave by contesting in the jungle. That means that Kuzenbo is now a level down up against Benji.
And Benji, you saw how much damage that bludgeon did to Annenster. Great jukes coming out of Andy, almost saved his life, as well as a well-timed watery grave coming out of FineOK, really disrupting. You can already see just how difficult it is to really handle that ultimate out of Kuzenbo.
On the left-hand side of things, PandaCat has managed to keep equal pace so far with Vetium, even though being in a 2v1 here and falling down for a tumble. Luckily, that trade was so important for him to keep things even keel.
Either way, this game is pretty much even. The 3v3 core of SoaR a little bit ahead outside of Virizial, who's got that level lead, and there's the Fear No Evil onto Jigs. The knockup and the Book of Demons comes out, but a 3-man cage coming out from Homie Efe sets up for Andy.
Insta does so much work there. 2 members fall and Homie gets 2 kills. The extra mobility from the passive of Odin won't be enough to get him away from Verizial though, but 3 stacks are on the Monkey that detonate through, but it's just not enough.
Only the pen boots there for Andy. Panda Cat's made the rotation, thought about sending Caldier underneath that tower, but with Vedium right behind him, decides it's better to just let Andy escape to his tower.
On the right hand side, you can see Cousinbo returning to base one more time for Fine OK, has full boots, but a teleport available. See where his build ends up going to next. Are we expecting Breastplate of Valor for him here?
That's the likeliest option, I think, just giving him that CDR, physical protection, just trying to get that Nene Kappa up off cooldown as much as possible, the spiked shell later in the game as well. Could go for something like a Winged Blade, try and get a little bit of extra health, and that would be great up against Pain and Chaos and Verizial, but I'd imagine physical protection is the likely outcome.
Panda Cat was pretty smart there, just throwing out the Caldeir over the wall over and over again. Very similar to like what you can do with Mark of the Crow and Ho Yi, where you can just throw it over the wall and hope if it connects a target, it'll auto-lock for you, so you can just click your buttons away and get a free lock on of Caldeir just to keep out an eye on where Vetium was coming from.
More pressure from EUnited as they steal away the speed buff of Homie Efe. Verizial 3-0-2 already, has been all over the map.
Yeah, Verizial's done a lot of work as the blue buff is stolen away on the right-hand side. Homie Efe stunned in place and forced to leap away. Verizial will follow him with the Monkey though, but changes his mind about continuing to aggress when the rest of the team aren't really in position to follow up.
Verizial still has that Fear No Evil, looking for it, but with that jump being on cooldown, I'm almost surprised to see Homie Efe not look to try and find that cage in the middle lane, though with that blink being down for Homie Efe, doesn't really have a way to close that gap easily.
Bit of an issue with putting this Cousinbo solo right now. With Benji now having this lead, Benji can just run this lane, and Fine OK can all he really do is just farm and play safe, but very similar to what we've seen out of a lot of solo lanes when they're at a deficit. They will be making impact, hopefully, as the game continues.
But Fine OK forced to back, and that teleport was just used, basically, to get him back into lane. He's going to have a long walk back, probably going to miss most of that wave that Benji just pushed under tower.
Left-hand Harpy's going to go the way of EUnited here. Chaos at level 8 right now. Has got full boots online on that Zhonghui. Did start with a tiny trinket as well, so he will be looking for some lifesteal, more than likely that Bancroft's talent.
Look at this lead that Verizial's gotten for himself. It allows him to just walk into the enemy jungle anytime he wants. He's pressuring Anister on his own back camps. There was a little bit of farm available to Verizial right now on the map. Benji got to solo those back harpies instead of splitting them with Verizial. But that's okay because both of these players have a lead. It's just extending Benji's lead instead of spreading it out evenly between the two.
Left-hand side, Gold Fury is available right now. 2 members of SoaR already there. They're really looking for the oracles, but recognizing, hang on a second, we don't see anyone. This is free.
This Gold Fury is absolutely toast. Bad timing between the backs of Pain Divion, Panda Cat, and Chaos. All 3 coming out of base at the same time is an easy objective for SoaR.
But just look how much of a lead EUnited still have. Even though the Gold Fury went the way of SoaR there, that dip hurt EUnited, but EUnited still control the experience and gold.
At this point, yes, but as Homie Faye gets a couple other items online, just more levels as well, maxing out that Bird Bomb soon enough, he's going to be able to really make an impact in this game.
Really worried about Chaos as his game goes on, though. Playing the Zhonghui is going to be very difficult for him to really get into these engagements here, Aggro. When you look at the fact they've got an Amaterasu that's going to give the whole team extra mobility, you've got an Odin to ring people in like this.
Vedium is right there with the snipes. Panda Cat doesn't have a lot of area to juke, and Vedium hits all 3. An easy kill for Homie Efe.
Benji teleporting around the back for Rizil on the way as well. Homie Efe was too busy taunting to recognize it. Leaps, no Eagles rally from Benji, though. He may look for Vetium, who's out of mana.
There's the purification beads, but the bludgeon's gonna be enough. Benji answers back. Now Homie Efe in some trouble under the tower, and Pain intoxicates him in.
But did they overcommit? Because now SoaR have 3 members here. The mobility from Jigs could help them close the gap, but with only 3 members strong, they think better of it and will just fall back towards the mid lane. I love the gank from Homie. I love the idea of trying to get into the head by taunting out EUnited, but by doing that, they just created even more of a window for EUnited to punish that rotation.
Homie Efe's already died 3 times in 10 minutes on this Odin. He had to go for the Mark of the Vanguard just to give himself a little bit of extra protection and survivability. It's also great up against the Zhonghui, taking 5 damage off every single piece of his tick damage, but he's very far behind in terms of where Verizial is. He's already level 12. He's got his 2nd relic ready to go as soon as he backs. Also completed that Hydra's Lament, which is, as we talk about all the time, is one of the biggest power spikes in terms of characters with specific items because it augments Hunbat's passive, giving him a big crit after an ability if he rolls well.
But we don't expect the Odin jungle to be the impact, as in they're not going to be the hard carry. He's there for the setup and the front line to allow his team to initiate. With Homie FA falling behind at all against Verizial, that's not really something we have to worry too much about. It's more about who are the killers, who are the murderers on each team, and can they get to that point?
And on that end, SoaR's a little bit ahead. Vredium is slightly ahead of Panda Cat. Annenster has had a better start than Chaos thus far. So on that side, you're right. SoaR's definitely off to a good start. The thing that I'm looking at, though, is besides the jungle, is the support different builds. Pain, he's already got his aura item complete. He went right for that Heartward Amulet, whereas Jigs, as usual, likes to go for a little bit more survivability for himself and worry about the team after he knows he's safe.
And that Heartward Amulet first is all to do with Annenster. You can see he's not massive on the player damage just yet, but he's up in the top 4 side, the highest on SoaR. Those Zeus ultimates and the Chain Lightnings plus the detonations can cause so much havoc. They have to respect that, and EUnited are doing so.
But right now, this is still a time where Homie FA and Jigs are going to be doing significant damage to Chaos, being this warrior support and warrior jungle. And without that sovereignty or any real physical protection for Chaos outside of his passive, it will make life harder for him. He's gone for the Void Stone, and I love this pickup early on, giving him some penetration against these tanky targets, as well as some survivability against the Zeus damage.
Verizial and Pain Divion adding into Benji are all controlling this right-hand side of the map for now. War coverage is relatively good, and they see a window of opportunity to go for the Portal Demon. The Final K has made a call here, and Homie's on the way to make sure that is not going to go down for free.
Verizial doesn't lose too much HP, though, in that little encounter, and really only had his back camps to farm, so not a bad idea there by EUnited's jungler to try and just get a little bit more global gold for the team.
A couple of issues there, because Benji's 14. You can see he's gone for Thorns as his secondary relic now to go with the Mystical Mail. That seems to be the story of the Bellona solo lanes this weekend. A lot more Mystical Mails coming into play. It's free damage overall aggro, but it's expensive.
There's the Blink, Fear No Evil, and Verizial gets Annenster's beads, and that's all he wanted. Chaos wasn't even close to following up on that ultimate. Verizial knows he just got away with murder a little bit there, blinking into 3 members by himself.
Makes it a bit more awkward now for Annenster to approach the wave, but luckily enough he is Zeus, so he's got a bit of additional range thanks to that shield. Panda Cat versus Vetium, both level 14, but meanwhile, EUnited, they still look to contest the speed.
Benji still 3 levels up on Final K right now. That Chain Lightning going to do a little bit of damage, but really not much to Benji.
This is a bait because Vetium doesn't know Verizial's on this left-hand side. I expected SoaR to think he's at the speed buff. He's not. He's looking at Vetium, but no fear, no evil. Wasted opportunity there, but well played from Vetium to get away.
And now EUnited's jig is up. They know that SoaR knows that Verizial's on that left-hand side. No real chance for them to contest that speed buff anymore.
I do like that call, though, from EUnited. They're trying to make them think that the jungler's going to be waiting in the wings, and he's not. He's waiting elsewhere.
So something that I just realized is Nemi and Lion for Final K. Love this pickup because Panda Cat on this Scotty, most Scotties are not going for lifesteal in their build. It's all about the penetration and damage. That's going to augment even more of his spiked shell damage.
Surprised, though, that he's not gone for the Thorns as his secondary relic. He wants the meditation, which will allow him to stay in the fights a little bit longer. Blinking from Homie FA over the wall with the ring, but the ring gets reset thanks to the Gold Fury and it going through it. Big from over the wall on 2, and Chaos is 1 hit from death.
Vetium going to be able to clean him up with that snipe. Can't quite find the third there on the low health target that's running away. Fear No Evil comes up just in time to get Panda Cat the kill on a Jigs.
And Benji is going to chase down Vetium for days, and there's not a whole lot they can do to stop it. Final K's on peel duty as Verizial will clean up Annenster, and Benji can now peel away, knowing that Vetium won't be out. The bird bomb would have hit, but a somersault is better.
And the big crit coming out as well. Doesn't matter. Homie FA finds the kill onto the jungler. Final K right in Panda Cat's face, forces out his Aegis there towards the end of the engagement, but both Benji and Panda Cat far too low to contest this solo laner.
Back and forth. Final K happy to just stay in here as Benji will retreat back to base. No teleport available for Benji now as Panda Cat. A little bit risky to stay in the lane there, but he knows that Final K was on those oracles because of the ward placement.
This is really exciting because another thing that I just remembered, I was talking to Panda Cat, I believe it was yesterday with Barracuda, maybe Friday, and they were talking about Kuzenbo. And Barracuda, like most hunters, is like, yeah, Kuzenbo ruins my life and I hate playing against him. Panda Cat says Kuzenbo is trash. He dares anybody to play Kuzenbo against him.
Really?
Easy wins for him. So this is fine, okay. This is an opportunity for him to show exactly how terrible it can be to play up against Kuzenbo as a hunter.
Tell you what, the worst thing is for PandaCat, though, is if he pops that ultimate on Scardy at the same time as Kuzenbo has those spikes up, Calder is going to do free damage that's going to come back to haunt PandaCat.
That's true. I mean, there's a lot of ways that PandaCat's life can be made more difficult by Fine OK, but PandaCat is 3 levels up on Fine OK right now. He's just not had a good job farming on that right side, largely due to the pressure put onto the solo by both Verizial and Benji. Those right side buffs have been consistently stripped away.
EUnited are the favorites coming into this just based off their seed placement, but the North American players here, I heard them talking before this set began, they feel SoaR are the favorites coming into this one. Right now, it's still a relatively even game, small advantages for the higher seed in the EUnited.
And these two teams, again, did not play during the spring split. SoaR had to forfeit up against EUnited due to not having the full team. Chaos gets blinked in by Homie Efe. Verizial immediately jumps onto Andy.
But Chaos is already dead, and Andy's being kept busy by Verizial, but now Verizial's got a problem because Vetium's here too. Where you gonna juke to, boy? Nowhere. Back to the fountain you go. The taunts are real out of SoaR right now, really trying to get in the head of EUnited.
I'll be honest, a lot of these taunts that you see are kind of good-natured fun. I don't feel that way about this matchup. SoaR really wants to get in EUnited's head.
Gold Fury started up by SoaR. Pain Divion trying to keep them busy. Bit of damage onto Homie Efe. Return of that damage onto Pain, and Vetium snipes. That third one could have spelled disaster for Pain Divion, I should say. But it's turned around as Homie Efe bit off more than he can chew.
Now Andy's in a bad spot. There's the meditation coming out from Jigs, or from Fine OK rather. Benji in the middle of 4, but he's got that Thorns. No one can hit him.
Pain comes in with a flop though, hanging around. Doesn't get the stun onto Andin, so as the Bludgeon will clean that one up. Next on the list is Jigs. There's a double kill for Benji. Pain's doing his best to bait. Vetium will clean that up as Fine OK ends up pushing Benji towards Vetium, and Vetium goes down, giving Benji a triple kill.
That's exactly what SoaR don't want to see on multiple different levels. Not only Benji just tearing through them, but because of who it is, the solo laner that left their team, left them high and dry in the middle of the season, and now is continuing to punish them here at LAN.
Disaster in that engagement from SoaR. Homie Efe overextended without his team just a little fraction too much. That cost him his life, and from there the blocks just started to tumble down, and EUnited extend to a decent 5k gold lead now based off that engagement after getting that Gold Fury.
Look at that teamfight recap. 3,000 experience there over top of SoaR EUnited gained in that little engagement. That is massive. That pushes that experience difference up around 7,000. And look at it across the board. Benji is 4 levels up. Verizial 2 levels up. Chaos has a level. Pain has a level. PandaCat has a level. Everyone on EUnited is at least 1 level on their counterpart.
But SoaR is still not out of this one just yet. EUnited starting up the Portal Demon here. Pain Divion on ward duty. He'll spot Fine OK as Fine OK will look to contest the pull. Not going to get there in time, and instead Verizial goes straight onto him. Fine OK still fighting because Homie Efe's here as well.
There's the blink cage, but a great Fear No Evil separates Aninster to allow him to not follow up on that cage. Jigs with the dazzling offense can't save the life of his mid.
PandaCat's in a lot of trouble here thanks to the damage from Vetium coming out as well. Big Eagles rally in place for the extra protections. Gives Benji another kill onto Vetium. Homie Efe has to leap over the wall back to safety. 2 for 1.
And again, just the AoE here from EUnited's composition is too strong for SoaR to really handle. I liked the shell pickup early on here by Jigs to guarantee the fact that that Zhonghui ultimate wouldn't be as effective. The Fear No Evil, the Intoxicate, all of these giant teamfight AoE ultimates. But there, the shell just wasn't up for Jigs. The Eagles rally, the Intoxicate, the Book of Demon, just too much AoE for SoaR to really deal with.
Homie Efe is doing a lot of work on this Odin so far in this game. His player damage isn't the highest. He's engaging well for the team. The problem is he's engaging just a little bit too early where his team can't get in range to follow it up all the time. And this is giving EUnited that window where Verizial keeps dropping the Fear No Evil to make sure SoaR can't collapse to make it worthwhile.
Verizial's played this game really, really well. 4-2 and 7 really set up Benji to allow him to get this early lead that he's really ran away with. And Verizial's just map sense. Every time someone gets caged, he's always looking for Aninster to make sure that he can't get easy damage off.
Hey, game 1 of this between him and SoaR, his first game at the LAN, and Verizial's performance here is already better than any of his games online so far this split. Not to talk down about him, but he's really playing well right now.
And that's what EUnited can bring. While a lot of people didn't really think highly of their online portion of of the spring split. A lot of easy wins that kind of inflated their record, I think, especially with that forfeit against SoaR. But you knew that this team really gets momentum at LAN. Panda Cat, one of the loudest players here consistently. Chaos may not look like it, but he gets really into these games and starts yelling at the other team. This is definitely a team that can really start to run with their LAN momentum.
I almost want to look back at that taunt from Homie FA in the duo lane after killing Panda Cat, because from that moment on is where EUnited have just managed to turn things up a little bit more. Tier 1 tower on the left, Tier 1 tower in mid, Tier 1 tower in the right are now all down, which means SoaR's base is a little bit deeper to defend from every single time, giving more control to EUnited across the map.
There's the Fear to Weave on the left-hand side. Jigs the target once more. Shell comes out, and the Dazzling offense, both a little bit too late to stop him from getting poked out. But that is a decent win for the moment, but with how much CDR Verizial has in that build, with the Hydras and that Shogun's Kasari, that's not going to be down for long.
Looking at the player cams, though, nobody seems too stressed from either team so far in this one. They recognize this could be a problem for both of them, but even though EUnited ahead, there's no smiles there. It's all serious business. I'll tell a lie, Pain smiling. Pain smiling.
Pain smiling, because Benji just stole away Homie FA's speed buff and then taunted him, because that's just what you do in this matchup, I suppose.
It seems that's the case. The taunts are real between the two. The fight is there. Obviously, Benji left SoaR at an awkward time. They brought in FineOK, who's had a fantastic, he's been a fantastic replacement. Mid lane, Blake from Homie FA, but the permafrost comes into play. Homie's gonna run. Who you gonna call, though, says Chaos. It's not enough damage, but it's enough to make SoaR run away. Benji around the back.
Anitzer just doesn't do any damage right now. Benji is making Vetium's life hell in this jungle. Sprint popped, Eagles rally over the top. Meditation comes out, and Aegis saves Vetium's life from that bludgeon.
And Benji's so tanky that he can weather the storm under a tier 2 for a while. The rest of EUnited just grouping up towards mid lane now with that damage done and forcing Vetium back. FineOK joining him. This tier 2 in mid is going to go as well.
1,500 more gold for EUnited. Nothing SoaR can do about it, but watch. There it goes in EUnited's favor. Only 2 towers left standing now.
Homie FA just clearing the wave out there as well. Can't pick up Pain to Beyond at the moment. Ultimate not available for that Odin. As now EUnited start to collapse back towards the Gold Fury. It's up in 10 seconds time as of now. And EUnited, what a fight.
FineOK and Jigs get caught out by that permafrost. There's a flop onto the Soul later, but he is tanky at this stage. Verizial jumps forward with that somersault, but Jigs finds a nice Dazzling offense.
But Verizial finds it better. Fear no Evil again. Vetium is here, goes straight to the sky, looking at Verizial. 2 shots are good, but the third one is pushed away by FineOK. Fight still going on as Anitzer under pressure, needs some help from his team. Gets a little bit of peel, but still falls down to Panda Cat. Benji picks up Homie FA off the back of that, and EUnited falls straight back after picking up 2 towards the Gold Fury.
And they are way too healthy to even think about giving up this Gold Fury. This is going to be another objective the way of EUnited. Their second Gold Fury of the game. It's going to push their lead up above that 10,000 gold mark.
And that 10K mark is always something that the players and everybody talks about. That's almost the moment where you're like, right, this team controls the game. We have to win a couple of team fights. A few things now have to go in our favor. Otherwise, it's difficult to get back in.
And this is a team composition that's even harder to get back into the game with, because it's just not a lot of damage across the board. You're really relying on Vetium and Anitzer to bring the bulk of that damage. But Andy doesn't have a whole lot of penetration. Only the Dynasty Plate Helm and those tank or penetration boots. You saw how little damage he did to Chaos with that ultimate in mid lane. Chaos has the Book of the Dead, 4th item here, and I love this pickup on Zhonghui. A lot of effective HP, not only from the shield, but it just gives you a ton of HP. A lot of power as well, 100 on that item.
Paul Demon started up looking for FineOK to try and steal it away. FineOK steals it! Don't know how he managed to get away, and he will immediately dip out. SoaR find a very, very small win, but it will slow EUnited down around the Fire Giant for a few moments.
That's one of the small wins, but the SoaR's going to need a lot of those. Jigs dashes into the enemy, but the speed buff still goes EUnited's way.
Jigs ults to avoid the flop, and Homie rings in Pain to Beyond. Not rid of the target he was after. He catches Chaos there, but Chaos is very tanky. You can see that Zeus hasn't really done any damage to him, and instead Andy's one hit from death. You know what? If Benji would have stayed there, Mystical Mail would have killed Anitzer in the back, but he'll get out, and Vetium is looking to turn it around on Benji.
But can't kill him still. Benji is just able able to do whatever he wants in these team fights. No worries at all. 6-0-9, top of the player damage charts. That's gotta hurt SoaR.
This weekend, there's been a lot of talk about what gods we may see, and the one that's really, really stood out for me is Bellona.
Yes.
Out of nowhere. Like, really out of nowhere. We've not seen it for most of the split. Most people not picking it up, and this weekend, it's having fantastic performances time and time again.
I mean, a lot of the counter picks that Bellona has trouble with, those warriors that interrupt her bludgeon aren't being seen quite as often. A lot of guardians, and she can really pressure those out even by leveling Scourge without much worry. I thought it was just the fact that Deathwalker's a really sick Bellona, but Benji showing us that it might be the character as well.
Especially with Cabrakan being the focus of bans just lately as well, and Cabrakan was one of those guardians you would always want to put into a Bellona for lane control. Oh, Babe just disappeared!
No chance for him to get out of that one. Just trying to steal away the Fire Giant. Fine, okay. Now on the run, Verizio already used that Fear No Evil. Meditation comes out from the solo laner, but he's super slow here from Benji.
But meanwhile, the fight rages on in the background with the Odin ring down, a couple of members in trouble. Pandacat specifically has to Aegis, but there comes Benji with the Eagles rally one more time. Unstoppable for the solo laner from EUnited. 5 members strong, 5 members with the Fire Giant. 5 members will take the tier 2 tower.
You know what this performance reminds me of from Benji? This is Omega-esque. It's on a character that Omega had a lot of success on, the Bellona. Benji is the bad guy in this matchup, and he is just reveling in it. He's absolutely loving this.
Not much Fine OK can do there to stop the Phoenix going down, but he's drawing the whole attention from the team right now. Investing a lot into him. Are EUnited really going to try and end this? In comes Homie F, and his health disappeared again. EUnited, they could take game 1 right now. The Titan's getting low. The Fear No Evil will secure. EUnited 26 minutes. GG.
The 3rd seed